Hello everyone, I'm Jan. I'm a product manager here at Safetica, and today I will try to explain the reasons of the new things and the areas that we covered within Safetica ONE and the release, which is numbered 10.0. Without further ado, let's jump into the first topic, which is one classification system. You know that Safetica at heart needs a classification to understand what is sensitive, and then it takes measures to protect sensitive information. Historically, Safetica started as a context DLP, which means it used context-based classification, where you had to tell, here are my files, or this is where my files come from, and then Safetica tried to protect them. This is a good approach, a very strict, restrictive approach, but in practice, it's very hard to understand how it will impact my users, how it will impact my business, because all these restrictions can really have unintended consequences at the end. To alleviate this and give you an option for a lighter approach, in Safetica 8, we introduced new technology which was based on content classification, which meant that you tell Safetica what is sensitive, and then Safetica just searches for that sensitive content in files, in data, and tries to protect it where it's needed. The two systems were next to each other, overlapping a little bit, but really you had to set up both separately, and you had to understand both very well to do this well. To help you with this, in Safetica 9, we introduced unified policies, which tried to bring the two worlds together, and you were able to create one policy system where you had some policies using context approach, some policies using content approach. This created a nice hybrid system where you were able to combine one with the other, use the strengths of one, help with the weaknesses of the other, and so on. We know that this is not perfect, but it was good enough for a while. And now we have the vision of creating one classification system that you can use. It doesn't matter what technology is in the background. You just say, these are my sensitive data, please protect them. We are not there yet, but we are taking some steps to get there. And the first step that we took, and that you will see in the version that we are introducing today, is making the content-based classification more powerful. So Safetica ONE that we are introducing today brings the content inspection technology to a whole new level, making it just as powerful as the context-based approach that we had previously. And now it's less about using both and more about understanding how each technology works and choosing the best for you. So now if you want, the new content inspection technology is very robust and powerful and optimized, and you can use just that. If you want, you can combine it with the context approach. It's up to you and you can decide. What we will do in the future is take this another step further and bring the two worlds even closer together and really just cancel out the differences and just let you configure what is important, and Safetica will automatically do whatever is needed to cover that. But that's a story for a different day. If we come back to the Safetica 10 editions of the content inspection technology, there is a huge update. We knew the previous technology was not perfect. You told us some ideas, you told us some requests, you reported some bugs and issues, and we tried to address them. But there were too many, and we couldn't really catch up and address every one of them separately. But what we did instead was that we rethought the whole technology, and we tried to address all the problems and build the technology from scratch. And that's what we did. So the new content inspection technology is brand new, it's been rebuilt, and hopefully we've addressed as many problems and issues and worries as we could. One of the first worries that we addressed was the file type support, because you told us that this is good, but it doesn't work with this and that file type, and I have these and that documents in my environment, how do I protect them? So now the new technology supports more than 30 file types, and it should include all major text-based and document-based files that you are using in practice. Another concern that you mentioned was that this is good, but I don't only have Windows machines. So we build the new technology in such a way that it's easy to be ported to new systems. We are not there yet. It's still Windows only for now, but I can promise you that in the next release, we will be talking about macOS content inspection, and that will be the first step to a real Mac DLP. So this is still coming, but now we have the technology and we are very, very close to that. But this is not all. It wasn't just about file type support and platform. You also mentioned that the technology was slowing down your business and it was causing problems because users couldn't do what they needed to do. So another focus area when we were rebuilding the technology was minimizing the impact that this technology has on the end user. One of the things that we did was that now you, as the administrator, you have the control over what should be scanned and what maybe is not necessary to be scanned. So now if you decide that spreadsheets are the only thing that you want scanned for sensitive content, you can set it up. And you can ignore all other documents, text files, whatever else. And you are now in charge of how you set this up. We gave you the tools. You can decide how this is best for your company. But still, some file types need to be scanned and content inspection needs to happen. But we also introduced a new pre-scanning technology, which runs in the background when the user is not doing anything. So imagine you are browsing a web or just reading a document. Your computer is not doing anything, right? The CPU is sleeping, the memory is used only for 20%. And in such situations, Safetica scans what's on the computer, on the endpoint, and it marks where sensitive files are and where they aren't. And then when the user takes a file and tries to copy it somewhere or upload it, Safetica already knows this file is okay or this file is sensitive and it must be blocked. And in practice, when we take a look at the data, it seems that more than half of the cases when the user is doing something that needs real-time scanning, Safetica already knows what's there. And there is no real-time scanning because it already happened before and Safetica knows this is a good document or this is a dangerous document. But even when the real-time scans need to happen, we did many optimizations, and on average, the data show that we do every scan within 3 seconds or less. Sometimes it takes only milliseconds, sometimes it takes a second or 2, but maximum 3. On average, this is very fast, and the users don't really feel the slowdown very much. But this is about behavior of the users and how they perceive things. But what about hardware resources? Well, when the user is using the computer, the CPU is doing tasks, the processing power is needed, the content inspection lies, and it's very inactive, tries to not go in the way. The same goes for memory. If the memory is used up, we try to save it and we don't use memory. Of course, when the computer is sleeping, it's not doing anything, and the pre-scanning hasn't happened yet, we try to use the resources that are still available, because it would be maybe dumb not to use that when the user is not needing the performance. And again, when we take a look at the data, on average, the memory footprint of our technology is only 170 megabytes, which is very, very small. And in most modern computers and hardware specifications, this is very little and the user shouldn't even feel the impact. So we talked about performance, we talked about slowing down the user, we talked about platforms, we talked about file type extensions and their support. But there is one more thing we haven't talked about, and that we have been telling you we're working on it, we're doing research. Yes, it's coming. You've been asking for it for a very, very long time, and that's OCR. OCR, optical character recognition, allows you to scan text from images and see if the text is sensitive or not. And with the new content inspection technology, we now have it. Safetica ONE comes with OCR, and that OCR runs on the endpoints where it's available in real time, where it's available offline, and it doesn't require any other network connectivity or network server which would do the scanning. So all scanning occurs on the endpoints. Again, with the pre-scanning technology and the optimizations on the performance, of course, OCR needs much more performance than a regular text scan, but with the pre-scanning and everything else that I just mentioned, the performance is optimized and the real live performance is not very noticeable. Another question that comes up a lot when we were testing the technology was support of languages. So when it comes to OCR, we need to be able to read special characters. So if your language has special characters, can Safetica read it? The answer is yes. For all the languages that we support in the Safetica endpoint client setting, we do support OCR scanning as well. So for example, our Russian partners and beta testers or our Asian testers confirmed that everything was working with the environment, and even local symbols and characters were recognized properly. So now hopefully this is good news and it will work in all your language sets. So this is all about the content inspection technology and the big changes that we are introducing in this version. But before I show how this looks in the product, I want to mention one more thing, and that's Safetica ONE being a solution to a one unified experience. We know that you need to use two consoles today. So there is a desktop console and a web console. They look very different, they do different things, and we should unify them. So we worked on that. You may have noticed that we have a new brand, new logo, new colors, we have a new website. Do check it out if you haven't yet. And we try to incorporate it into our products as well so that everything is unified and Safetica really feels like a unified solution. And while we were doing that, we also tried to address some of the user experience feedback that we had. So we tried to fix small things in both the consoles that will hopefully help a lot in practice. And this is probably best shown in practice. So let's switch to my virtual environment where I can show you how the visual changes look like, and we will also take a look at the OCR and content inspection technologies. So I'm here in my virtual environment, and you can see the desktop login screen is already somehow different. And when I log into the console itself, you will notice a new blue navigation bar. We have actually iterated over this quite a lot, surprisingly a lot. We had different designs that we were choosing from. We were doing usability testing, and the feedback hopefully allowed us to make this not only a visual change, that everything is prettier and bluer, but it's also a navigational improvement. So now when I switch to, let's say, protection as a module, I understand where I am, and I understand protection has some features. If I click the data categories feature, I understand, okay, I'm in the data category view, and there are some settings, there are some records. So now with the new version, the switch between settings, configuration, and records, viewing the logs, is also incorporated into this very tab-like navigation that is unified across the whole desktop console. To make this more familiar to also users of our web console, if I switch very fast to our web console, which also has a very nice login screen, you will notice that after logging in, the menu, the navigational menu, is in the same colors. It uses the same shades and same logic. So hopefully the user, when they are switching between one console and the other, they understand where they are, what they are looking at, how do they get to a different section, and so on and so on, and everything is clear, unified experience. This is not the biggest change, but I believe it will help especially new users. I hope you as our existing users will also benefit from these changes, and you will find the changes positive and a good thing. Since I'm already in the data categories view, let's also talk about the content inspection, because this is where we set it up. So if I click on the new data category button, I can create a new category, or I can just check the categories which I've already created. So let's try financial as the data category here. So let's see how this is set up. The financial data category says that it's looking for bank account numbers and credit card numbers. It has optical character recognition enabled. I can turn it off if I want, but I will leave it on. So it will also look in image file formats. And the final setting here, extensions, says that it's set to custom, and I have 3 extensions specified. In case this is my only data category, this setting means that only 3 extensions will require scanning. So if I send a TXT file, if I work with a Word document, it will not be scanned for sensitive information. Only these 3 file types will be scanned. This is very good control. And in case I find this not enough, unsatisfactory, I can simply add new extensions here, and I can say maybe JPEGs should be scanned as well, or maybe PNG files, or maybe TXT files. Or I can also just use our file type categories, which is much easier and it covers more extensions at the same time. Or if I don't care, I just want Safetica to work, I'll just keep the setting on recommended, which will cover all major extensions that are guaranteed to work, and I don't need to care about anything. In case I want control, I can always use the custom setting and really specify what should be scanned, what shouldn't be scanned. There is also a middle setting called all, which allows you to try scanning everywhere. It will not work everywhere because we cannot get text from anything, but we will try. So this setting is for cases when you really want to be thorough, you don't care about performance, you don't care about how you invade the user, but you want to scan as much as possible, even if it's not supported officially. You can try this setting, and maybe it will work for some of the edge cases that you will find in your own custom environment. For now, I will leave the custom setting. I will actually cancel this out. And for example, I can show you the top secret category, which is looking for the keyword cafe. It's also looking into optical, into image-based files, and it's using the recommended setting. And maybe for just seeing everything, this is a sensitive data category, which is looking for these random identifiers. It's not looking for optical character recognition. Still, OCR needs to run everywhere because I need to check if maybe top secret or financial is in an image. So this doesn't mean that OCR is disabled. It just means in this category, I don't care about images. And let's see what I can do with these. I can run a discovery task, either one time or repeated, just as usual, or I can also create DLP policies over these files. DLP policies also work with OCR, so there is no difference there. If I go into records and I check financial, you will see an interesting thing. I scanned my whole computer for financial data, and I only saw these 4 different files, and all of these are only PDF and XLS files. If you remember, in financial, I had these set up as only 3 extensions, PDF, XLS, and XLSX. So only these were found as results. If I go into top secret, you will see a recommended extension set was set up. So I also see PNG here, and that's it actually. But maybe under sensitive data, yes, I will see Word documents, I see PPTX, I see JPEGs, I have a TIFF image that was sensitive. So with this, I get much more control over what is found and what is scanned for sensitive information. To close this up, maybe one more demonstration of how this looks like in practice when I try to copy something sensitive. So I have a cloud drive here. You can see I'm logged into OneDrive, and here I have a file, a PDF, which is text-based. This is actually text. So this was working with old Safetica. It should work with new Safetica. You can see, yes, the file was blocked because it's financial. But now this new file This is actually a scan of this PDF. And you can see that the user is trying to convince me that these are random numbers and not credit card information. He swears. But let's see. If I try to copy it here, again, you can see that this is blocked because it's financial document. And you can see the detection is very, very fast because these files were already on my computer. They were scanned before, and now there is no delay. This is super fast. And even if I try to create some copies, let's do that like this, and try to copy, you can see all the copies were identified immediately. There is no scan needed because, you know, the content technology understands that these are only copies. So I cannot even show you how slow our scanning can be because it's so fast that I cannot do anything about that. Right, I will delete the copies later. So hopefully this shows you a good demonstration over how the new technology works, and hopefully you liked what you've seen. And let's switch back to the presentation for just a short while. There are two more areas that we haven't covered yet. And the first one is one security approach. Already on this webinar at the beginning, or if you've been on our previous week's webinar where we introduced our new brand, positioning, we've talked about how we want to change our security approach. That Safetica is a DLP solution, but today DLP is not just DLP. And you've probably seen this already. Our idea of modern data security consists of two pieces. A DLP, which is behaving dynamically, which is detecting things and responding to them in a dynamic way, which is a data-centric protection. And then the second part, which is a human-centric part, which takes a look at user behavior, at behavior anomalies, and at insider threat detection. So this is something that we have been internally discussing for months. I think it's maybe more than a year. And the first little thing that we've already introduced in the product is something that you might be familiar if you are following our other sister product, Safetica Next, which is built around detection and detecting risk, because this is what we are now also adding to Safetica ONE, advanced detection of risky events. Cool, all right, but what does that mean? Well, if we are able to identify risky events, it can help you with your DLP setup. In case you don't have a DLP configuration, risky events will identify the most important problems that you should address, and it will help you understand where the DLP configuration should begin so that you can prevent these events from becoming problems. And in case you have a DLP configuration and you are comfortable with it, still you will get lots and lots of logs, and you will see lots and lots of DLP events. And detecting risk in them will help you see the critical ones and help you understand where you should pay attention. So these are just philosophical things that maybe in the product won't look that great today, but if we are good at detecting these risky events, it will help you as the user to really see what's important. And if we build on top of just detection, and we will give you tools that, okay, all these risky events, I want to take care of them, and there will be a magical button, protect. You can simply click that and every risky event will be suddenly protected. This is something that we want to have in the future. We want to make it smart, we want to make it easy to use, and we want to make it an approach that will save you time and make your environment more secure. What you will see shortly is just a small beginning, but really this is a concept that you will hear more about. And also in the roadmap outlook that is at the end of this webinar, you will see that this is a topic that we are still investing in, and you will see improvements later. But before we switch back to the demo, one more topic that is also tied with the security approach, and that topic is security stack. When we talk to larger customers, and we have more and more of them, and also in smaller customers, this is becoming a trend. When you have to manage multiple security solutions, it's becoming hard because you have to interconnect them. You are solving compatibility issues and interconnection issues. And Safetica wants to be part of your security stack. We don't want to be another solution that you want to manage. We want to be one part of your one security stack. And the new version introduced today is bringing a big step towards this, which is Data Analytics API. Thanks to this API, you can integrate Safetica with anything that you are already using. If you are using PowerBI or a different reporting application or service, you can connect Safetica to feed data into this service, and you can visualize what is happening in Safetica anywhere else where you are already used to consuming your data analytics. To get you started, we have sample templates which are aimed at data security and user activity. You can either use these as starting points, you can use these as templates and reports that you will actually use, or you can build your own custom reports based on whatever you prefer. And since this is a topic that comes up a lot with bigger customers, and it's usually a thing that we see with customers who require automation and connecting Safetica to their existing systems, this is now part of Safetica Enterprise, and it will be made available to all our Safetica Enterprise customers. So this will be best seen in practice. So let's switch back to my virtual environment. And first things first, let's take a look at risk. To see the risk, you can go to two places in the product. You can go to Discovery, Files, and you can see I already have risk filtered here. So I only see 3 things that happened today, and I can check them out. So I see archive.zip was uploaded somewhere. And if I check the details, you can see it was marked as risk because the destination was file share. This is probably not okay. This shouldn't happen in a good, secure company. Then I have a confidential document. Again, it was sent via an instant messenger. And the instant messenger was, in this case, Edge, which means it was an upload. And if I want to check where exactly, you can see it went on Slack. And again, here, this also instant messaging, the user was sharing the document through Slack. In case Slack is my business application, this is okay. Maybe I should just categorize it properly. But in case Slack is not my business application of choice, and I'm using Microsoft Teams, usually, this is a security problem. So you can see that already, even if I only have Safetica Discovery, I can see problems that are happening in my environment. I can easily filter them, because if I remove this filter, I see a bunch of logs and I would have to dig through them to really see the problems. But with the filter, I can easily see the problems and pay attention to them. And in case I have protection or Safetica Enterprise licenses, I can build policies to address these problems. The same thing can be found under protection in DLP logs. There is also the new column risk. You can see the same details here. But again, if you are working in this view, you can consider different things. Maybe this upload of archive.zip, maybe it was okay, and maybe WeTransfer is just a domain that I haven't categorized yet. Maybe I will add it to my save zone, because as a protection user, I can add it to my save zone. Or maybe Slack is something that I want to allow. Maybe I want to categorize Slack properly. So these are different workflows that are not yet automated, but in the future, we expect that we will help you understand what the risk means and how you should interact with it. But this is the beginning, and I believe this already helps you find the interesting parts, because without this risk flag, you just have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of logs that you have to go through to understand the security aspect. So this is about the risk. You will hear more about it in next releases and also in the roadmap outlook. But let's take a look at the API as well. So if I move to the server settings, if I go into here, the new data analytics section, I can simply turn on the integration. It asks me for a secure password that will be used for connecting to a secure database view. To understand how the integration works, how you can configure it, how you can connect it to your existing services, please take a look at our knowledge base. You can either use the link which is in the product, or you can just search the knowledge base for Power BI or API. You will find a series of very nice knowledge base articles, thanks to our technical writer. They are very nicely prepared. You even have videos showing you and showcasing how the integration can be set up. So hopefully that will cover that. But I wanted to also show you what kind of reports you can get from this integration. Here you have an example of a Power BI report, and this is a sample template that you will be able to try and use. So if you are interested in what you are seeing, you will be able to find it in the knowledge base. And in this report, you can see I can interactively change the time frame I'm interested in. I can easily just filter operations just by clicking the report. I, of course, could set up new filters, visualizations according to whatever I would prefer. So this is a data flow view. There is also a network shares view, which allows me to visualize where my data are stored, what kind of network shares I have, and where data are residing. And there is also a dedicated view to risky operations. Through the feature that I just described, we also have a Power BI report. You can use this in your reporting to only see the interesting risk identified operations and investigate what they actually meant. Another template report that we have here is focused on activity. So you can check how your company environment looks like, what's happening in it, what kind of things are happening in the development department or management department. You can easily filter. You can check the activities that are happening and how many of them are happening. You can filter, of course, and there is also a tab for detailed work report of individual people to understand what kind of activities are done by individual people. So these are things that you can build from the API. You can use these templates or create your own in case you'd prefer that. And I believe this is the end of the demonstration. And with that, I would go back to the presentation. So you can see Safetica ONE is really a new generational update. We will, and we already address many of these topics that you see on the screen: the classification system, the unified experience, the security approach, and in case you are struggling with integrating Safetica into your stack, now you can use it as part of your one security stack that you already have. And before we move on, just some final closing notes about the version and product changes. With new things, some things must end. So we are ending support of old systems that we are seeing very rarely in our customers anymore. So Windows 8.0, not 8.1, that is still supported, but 8.0 is being discontinued. And also Microsoft SQL Servers 2008 are being discontinued as a supported database system. In case you still have these systems in your environment, feel free to get in touch with our delivery who can help you move on from these systems. And in case you have been using Safetica Mobile, just a few notes. The team mood experimental feature that we came up last year when companies were moving to remote work, it never got enough adoption. It was a great learning experience for us, and there are some plans to build upon from this, but right now the feature is being discontinued. And also additional one-time deployment of third-party applications and device owner mode for new Android devices will be discontinued. And I think the latter is also being discontinued by Google officially. So hopefully these are not drastic changes, but just something that you could have expected coming sooner or later. But moving on from this, a very quick roadmap outlook. In the roadmap, we will definitely continue with some of the topics presented today. File content inspection is just the beginning. We will bring it to Mac. We know that you are looking for more regional identifiers to be supported. We know about them and we are adding them slowly. You can expect more in the next versions. And of course, we will see how the technology behaves in practice when we deploy it to all our customers. You can expect that there are still some stability plans that we had. And if there are any issues, we will definitely cover them. And also the coverage, meaning the breadth of where content inspection can run, how it can detect things. This is also something that we will build on. And of course, insider threat protection is still an area that we want to invest in. You saw the beginning of risk detection. We still want to do more automation and more user flow improvement of how you can interact with risky events. We are also discussing how we can introduce risk into the security audit reports and our POC process to help you also introduce this within the security assessment. And of course, the technology for detecting these risky events is going to evolve. We will make it more accurate. We will make it consider more aspects, and it will be updated with every new release. And as a little look behind the curtain to see what we are discussing internally, there are two more topics that we are really discussing very, very strongly at the moment. The time to value of our products, where we want to make the user journey and experience really excellent, and we want to focus on how you are using the product and how well you can use it. We want to also address the problem of operation and technology invasiveness of our product, because of course, when we need to run on endpoints, there will be technical issues, but we want to minimize them. When we are implementing a comprehensive DLP, there will be deployment issues and we want to address them. So this is something that we are discussing, brainstorming, and hopefully you will see more and more news in this matter. And another very strongly researched area is Microsoft 365, where now we have a dedicated team of technical people doing technical research, product people doing product research. In case Microsoft 365 is an interesting topic to you and you would like to share your thoughts or ideas, please let us know at product@safetica.com, because my colleagues are really doing research and they need as many people to talk to as possible. So if you want to affect how we integrate Microsoft 365 and other cloud services in the future, please let us know and we are happy to talk to you. And these are things that you will hear more about in next product webinars in the future. About the version that we introduced today, you will be able to download the version today. After the webinar, you will receive download links from where you can access the version. If you want to wait it out a little bit, around October, I think in a few weeks, we will make the version available to everyone using the in-app updater button, where you just click and everything is updated automatically. And in case you would like to try maybe some pre-release versions, or maybe give us feedback on some design prototypes, or discuss with us some ideas that we have for future product features, please sign up just by dropping a very short email saying hi at beta@safetica.com. We are building a beta group of users who will be able to help us understand how the product works before we release it. We had great experience with this version, which has been tested since I think March or April. Thanks to every single one of you who have provided us feedback on the version. It's valuable, extremely valuable, because we were able to catch many of the problems that many people won't even see today. So thanks again to everyone involved in the beta testing. In case you would like to become a beta tester, let us know at the email that you can see on the screen.